Sean Nightfire here. I'm going to install the FR12K-B inverter and go through some of the specs. First thing is to set in this mount here. I am using these here. These are really strong, so I just like using them. They're easier to use. Put 4 of those in here, and they're really easy to use. Just stick this plastic doohickey in there. A 1/2-inch hole for at least this model one, and then zip that down. These are super strong. I just like using these. I had some extra ones, and then you kind of break off that end. So yeah, now I can install this. So that will go like this. Now solar, let's talk about solar. So it has 2 MPPT controllers. Each are capable of 6,600 watts. And it has 500 watts max input for voltage. And I believe operating voltage of 125 to 450 volts. So first, obviously, I have what is called a cement board. It's a good idea to mount your stuff to this. Make this level, and then everything else is easy to make level because it's got these 1-inch squared. But yeah, voltage, you never want to go over max voltage, so you couldn't do that with one string. So for example, let's say you have, now the max amperage it can pull, one spec that I think they fell short of is a 22 amps max that it can pull. It's not going to harm your inverter if you go over that with your panels. Some people do that on purpose. It's called over paneling. The voltage is what you don't want to get going over it. So I'll try to put this on screen here. For example, if you have 400 watt panels, and again, you can't do like 16 in a row, you can go 2x8. So most 400 watt panels will say operate at 40 volts at 10 amps. That's 400 watts. So you could do like a 2x8 configuration, 2x8, 8 times 40, 320 volts at 20 amps, 6,400 watts. Perfect. That works great. Now, let's say you have extra large panels like a 600 watt. Those have operating voltage of around 45 volts. And I think the open circuit voltage is like over 50 volts. So let's say you have 10 of them. You cannot go 10 in a row. So then you're like, well, I'll go 2x5. And that will be, so yeah, that would be 225 volts times 26 amps. And that would be right at 6,000 watts. Great. Well, again, the inverter can't pull more than 22 amps. So if you did that, you would have 225 volts and it would only be able to pull 22 amps from that. So you'd only get 5,000 watts out of that configuration. So I wish they would have had that a little bit higher. Let me grab the inverter. Okay, that took a couple tries. Yeah, 62 pounds. But yeah, it feels sturdy. I'm okay with that. Now that that's placed, there's some side screws here. Let's get those put in place. All right. So now I got a lot of wires here, but everything is shut down. This is the switch here. And just to be super safe, I'm going to completely turn off the battery. All right. And then the other side. All right. So yeah, she is on there good. Okay. Now we're going to pull the side cover off. So yeah, you should have a little bit more space than I do on the sides here, but for the time being, I think we'll be okay. All right. All right. So the rest is on the inside here, just connecting everything. All right. There's some screws all along the side here. Let's see what we got under here. All right. So yeah. So first thing we're gonna put in is our PV. We got PV1, PV2. So I'm only using one of the PVs. I just don't have enough panels. I made it extra long so it's easier to work with. We'll see how that goes. And then there's like these little pop outs here. You can pop those out. Okay. I kept it long just because if I move it, I want to keep this one continuous strand. Very important. This is PV wire. Very, very dangerous. Make sure your PV is disconnected before you're anywhere near this stuff. This will kill you in a heartbeat. So it doesn't really matter which side we use, PV1, PV2. It's positive, negative. I guess we'll use PV1. Let's see if we can see that. See PV1. Yep. All right. Oh, they're very big. This is 8 gauge because I have it kind of running pretty far. Hopefully I can get 8 gauge in there. That fits good. Okay. Handy little tool here. All right. Anything we missed? I mean, I'll just list the specs on it. Now, one thing to note about this inverter, it is not yet 1741 listed. So definitely can't backfeed if you're not 1741. Depending on your municipality, you can't connect to the grid at all. So new inverter, hopefully they get that certification soon. I'm completely disconnected from the grid when I'm operating this. And when I charge the batteries, and then I run the whole house off of it. So I'm never directly connected to the grid. So in my case, it works. But again, hopefully they get that up and running soon. Okay, so I got that in there. Low torque setting. I usually like to use screwdrivers so I can feel the torque. I don't know why those are so tiny. A little tug. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay. Let that kind of hang here. Price, $19.50 plus tax. The shipping was free on it. Next, we will install to the interlock kit. So I use 6.3. This has a 6.3 Romex, just because I'm running through conduit. And that's going to go, that's the question, grid load generator PE, grid load generator neutral. Stand by. All right, so I'm going to zoom in just so you can see what we're talking about here. All right. It's a little bit more confusing than the 10K. All right, so all the neutrals go here. The big end right there. All the grounds go here. Grid, that's to charge your batteries. Again, I'm using the EG4 charge verter, so I'm not going to be using that. What I will be using is the load. So I'll put my hot 1, hot 2 on the load, my neutral, and my ground. Jen, I don't know what that is. I'll find out in a minute for you though. But here, yep, we're going to connect our load. Again, I'm just going to have the kind of just hanging out there. And let me do that now. Zoom back out. Red or black, load 1 or load 2, I don't think it really matters. I think most people go black on load 1, so I'll just stick with that. So neutral has to go the furthest. I'm going to do the neutral first, and then hopefully figure it out from there. Boy, oh boy. So I like these connectors. You can get pretty good size cable in there. Might even be able to get 4 gauge in there. Yeah, I like it. All right, we got those in. Those feel secure. Now I guess we can just use any of these grounds here. Okay. For the load, that's what's putting out 2 hots, neutral, and the ground. I am not going to do grid, but if you do that, it's going to be right here. Obviously, make sure you're disconnected from power before doing that. All right. The last one is the battery. Oh my God, it's way up here. All right. Let's zoom back in so you guys can see again. All right. So battery is way up here. I'm gonna have to move some stuff around so I can reach with the cable that I have. It calls for 3-aught cable. I have 2-aught cable. I'm gonna use that for now, but it's properly fused, so and this can handle up to 300 amps. So this is good 2-aught cable. Just my crimpers only go up to 2-aught cable, but I got 275 amp fuses in there, and I should be able to still get a good test using that. So for now, I'm just going to stick with the 2-aught. If I need to double it up or add more cable, I had a big discussion about this. Obviously you can use 2 sets of 2-aught cable. That'd be kind of overkill. You can use 2-aught cable and a smaller cable. If they're both fused, I don't see what the problem is in that. But people quote, net code 310, 10, section G, whatever, saying you can only parallel cables if they're more than 1-aught gauge. What that's talking about is for inside an AC circuit. Now, obviously, you can't use 14 gauge cables for a 30 amp circuit. Just in case the homeowner accidentally breaks one of those cables, those wires, well, then now you have one 14 gauge cable going to a 30 amp because they're all going to the same circuit breaker. This is completely different than that. You can multiply multiple wires as long as they're properly fused, each of them. If one fuse blows, all the power's going to go to the other one, then the other fuse blows. But it helps you, you can go more than one cable is what I'm saying. So, yeah. But yeah, give me a minute. I'm going to reconfigure some wires so I can reach this. Okay. Okay. All right, so took a break last night. I'm going to continue on here. Added these, I was just kind of tired last night. Added these conduit, I don't know, connectors here to make it a little cleaner. I don't know why I did that, why I didn't do that last night. I think I was left off on the batteries. So there are actually 2 cable connectors there, so you could do like 2 gauge instead of like a big 3 gauge or something like that. So ran those, and I got a lot of wires here. I'll try to get out of the way, just so you can kind of follow along. Starting with the negative side, I have it going to the bus bar, and then from the bus bar to a shunt, and then a shunt to the battery. The battery's on now because I'm running another inverter. And then from the positive side through a switch, what I got off right now, then onto through a fuse to 75 amp to a bus bar again, and then from the bus bar to the other side of the battery. All right. And then I also connected this, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, a little ground wire that connects to the chassis. All right. That just connects outside, just a ground wire. Now, coolest new feature, and I didn't even know this had it until I really dug into the manual, is that this generator, which has two functions, says generator there. Let me zoom in here. Might not be able to see it, but these three breakers, again, grid for bringing power in, load for load out, and then generator. That can be generator in, or it can be a secondary out. And you change that on parameter 81, I believe it is. Why is that awesome? So right now I have my water heater hooked up to it. And what will happen is, let's say I got the water heater running and, I'm going, and then I have a bunch of stuff, hair dryers, stoves, ovens, and I go way above that 12,000 kilowatt threshold. What it'll do, it will first shut down the secondary only. And that's pretty cool because the water heater kind of acts like a big battery anyway. It's not like you're going to instantly lose hot water. So, and that's one thing that kind of bothered me about my 10 kilowatt generator. I'd only turn on the hot water heater at certain times. So since this hot water heater uses 5,000 watts, it's almost like this function turns this inverter into, instead of a 12,000 watt generator, almost like a 17,000 watt generator, because as it goes up and down, I can shut that off. It automatically shut that hot water heater off as needed without shutting down the whole house. And then after 3 minutes, it'll turn on that secondary load again. You could maybe use it for like an EV charger too. So yeah, that is awesome. So I'm really happy about that. Again, I already hooked up the PV. You see me do that. Hooked up the primary load. This is a secondary load. This one doesn't have a neutral. It's just a hot water heater. And then ground again. Yeah, I think we have everything hooked up. Now there's a battery breaker here. Let's turn that on. Let's see. So that should be activated. I still have this off here. Oh, maybe let me zoom out first. Sorry about that. Okay. So I have this off here. Now, whenever you activate these inverters, since such a, I don't know, a lot of power going into the inverter, I have this, I just kind of made this little thing, but this piece you can get from like anywhere. It's like a resistor. What it does, it prevents like a big surge of power to going in the inverter. So good idea to hook that on either side of the switch. So we'll do that if I can get to it. And then on one side, kind of bypass that switch. I see the little tiny spark, but that's okay. You already see it starting to charge up. Give that a couple seconds, and now I can turn it on. Yeah, sorry about that. My camera stand fell over. So the settings are all like the 10K. The one feature I wanted to check out is that secondary output setting 81. And so I already changed it. Defaults to generator in, but I'm going to put that as AC out. And that means that works at secondary function. Secondary load out. And then the last thing I would do is connect a battery communication underneath. It's just to CAN bus there, and then on my battery. So I think that's everything. And then, well, I don't have the PV on yet. I would have to turn the PV on outside, and then also this PV rapid shutdown switch turned on. So yeah, let me know if I missed anything. Thanks for watching. Any comments, please leave them below. Any questions, and we'll see you next time.